In this series, I'm going to be building an electric guitar for a talented young musician. Now, he's come up with a fantastic design, so all I have to do is build it. It's going to be exciting, it's going to be challenging. I do hope you'll join me. Now, I've made some reasonable progress in the previous episodes on the body, the neck blank and the various router templates that I need. But I really want to sort out the neck, and to do that I've got to sort out the fretboard and the inlays. So in this video I'm going to try and tackle the inlays. But what I don't know is exactly what the client wants on the fretboard. Now, I've got a pretty good idea. So what I've been doing is doing some mock-ups on Procreate, sort of a graphics package on the iPad. And I think I've come up with a reasonable idea. But before I show him that idea, I want to make sure I'm actually going to be able to do what I've suggested. Let me show you. So from the graphic, I've printed out this sheet of images. Now, these are stock images, and I've got to try and see if I can cut these images out of some shells. Now, I've just mocked this up. This isn't the fretboard that I want to use, but it's a fretboard that I've cut to size, and it will do the job. I'm going to have a go at cutting that shape out of this piece of shell. Now, I actually want to use this wood for the fretboard. This is Panga Panga. I used it on my classical style guitar and it worked beautifully, and I think that's going to look really lovely with those inlays on there. So now I'm going to send a note off to my client to see if that's something he's interested in, and while I'm waiting for his response on that, I want to get on with the tremolo cavity. Now, I've produced a template for the cavity on the back of the guitar, but what I haven't produced is a template for the actual cover. So that's what I'm going to do next, and let me show you how I make my router templates. Creating router templates like this can be a bit of a pain, particularly to get them accurate, and in the past I've used a scroll saw to cut them out, and I've never had much success with that. But now I've got a new way of doing it, and I'm just going to do one now for the cover for the tremolo there at the back. So this is quite a simple one, but the principle is the same. Basically what I do, I cut some scraps of wood, and I then just stick them round the edge of my drawing, like so. He says it does involve cutting pieces to the right size, obviously, but that's not too difficult to do. Just peel that off. So here we go. Put the end piece in, and of course you don't have to go right up to the edge of the other piece of wood, as long as the router bit is not going to come out of the join there, you're okay. So here we go. I'm going to put that there. Right, now I have a router template on top of a router template. I just need to route it out. Now to do that, I get a bit of waste wood, put a bit of masking tape and double-sided on that, and then put a bit of masking tape on the back of the router template, stick it down, so that's going to be held nice and firm now. I can route through into the waste wood. Once it's been sanded off, just to get rid of any burrs and things, it looks pretty good. So I've got a nice template to go with my tremolo template that's going to go underneath. So this will create the recess for the panel. And one of my guitar building friends, Jiv, has got a fantastic video telling you how to use a template like this to actually create the cover plate. So I'll put a link in the description below to that. Anyway, I was a bit lazy and I just went round with the router. I would normally take out some of the middle with some Forstner bits. Right, now I'm going to get on with this headstock veneer. It's a bit thick at the moment, but I'm going to no, I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do, I'm going to cut it to size. I was going to mark this up, but it's a bit too thick. So I think what I'll do, I'll just square off the edge here and see if I can just cut it a little bit thinner. That'll help me. I only need about a 2mm thickness for this veneer. But if I cut it to about 3mm, 4mm perhaps, then I can just sand it down to the right thickness. I have got a veneer for the headstock. It's a little bit thick, but I've sanded it down a little bit. I'm not going to stick it on just yet, but it's there, ready. Well, good afternoon. Now, I got the thumbs up for the fretboard design, so I've spent a few happy hours today carving out shells in the shapes of birds, and I think it's looking pretty good. I've just noticed that the birds towards the dusty end of the fretboard up by the guitar might need to be a bit smaller. And I've got to cut 2 more out. So before I go any further, I think I'm going to just revisit those. But otherwise, I think, yeah, it's going to look really nice. Now what I want to do is actually put the birds in before I cut the frets, before I shape the neck, or shape the fretboard I should say, radius it, because I'm going to have to put CA glue on this wood to stop the splintering, because it does tend to splinter, but it works fine once you've got CA glue on it. So yeah. My next job, once I've got all these birds done, is to start inlaying them. Well, this morning I went ahead and made smaller versions of the ones I'd cut out yesterday, and they work much better within the fret. So I think I will put these to one side for something else perhaps. Okay, so let me take you through my process for doing inlays, and it's quite a time-consuming process, so I'll hopefully give you the highlights, but I'll show you the major steps. First thing I do is I've marked an X where I want the next inlay to go. I'm going to put some tape on this fretboard here, and I'm just going to draw in where the frets are going to be. So got a fret there, got a fret there. I'm just going to draw in the centre line, like so. Now then, this is the little inlay I'm going to put in there. So just want to try and get that roughly into position. I think that looks pretty good. It also helps actually to know where the top of the fretboard will be, and that's going to be there. And the bottom of the fretboard is there anyway, so that's easy enough to do. I find this lining up process probably the most fiddly part of it, because once I've committed myself, then I've got to live with it. So here we go. So get it nice and centered there, and sort of reasonably centered top to bottom. That looks pretty good. So I'm just going to mark a very rough outline there, just on the top, just so I can see where I've put that. Now then, next stage is to put a little bit of double-sided tape on the spot, like so, and then I just have to peel that back. Now position the bird again. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to go round it with a sharp knife. Now, once I'm reasonably happy with that, I'm going to lift that off, lift the inlay off carefully, and I usually get the double-sided stuck on the back, which I don't really want, so I'll just peel that back. Pretty gooey stuff, this one. Put that out the way. And also like to take off the double-sided that's sort of excess as well. Okay, now I need to just fish out the centre of this. There we go. So now I've got a template to work to. Now I've got my Dremel here with the a PCB blade, router blade in there, and it's set to about just over 1 millimetre deep. So next stage is to route out the inlay. Okay, so now I've got the cavity there routed out. I actually lost a blade from that, and the reason for that was it wasn't in tight enough. It slipped down and just started digging a hole deeper and broke. So there's a lesson to be learned there. Make sure you've got the router bit in really tight. Now this never fits first off, so it's about a little bit of fiddling to get it in. So what I do at this point is take this mask off, because that's no longer any good to me. I need to see the wood. So now it's a question of positioning this over the hole there and just seeing which bits are still catching. And I'll just mark it with a knife. And I have this really small chisel which is made out of an Allen key, which I can just go in and chip away small bits of it. Helps to have my magnifying glasses on at this point. Well, that's probably taken me about 45 minutes to get that in, and it's fairly flush. I might be able to get it down a little bit more. There's obviously some gaps around there which I can fill with dust and glue, and that's not going to be an issue. It didn't go in quite as easy as the first one, but the shape is a little bit more complicated. But yeah, it's in. To hold it in place, just a couple of dabs of super glue. And what I'll do, I'll fill the sides in with dust and glue once that's dried, and I've done them all. Beautiful. Well, that's my way of doing it, and it seems to work for me, even though it is a little bit time consuming. But then this sort of work is. I'm sure there are other ways that you can do that, but that seems to be the most effective way for me. Anyway, I'll get on and do the rest, and I'll be back with you in a couple of weeks. Just kidding. Hi there. Well, I thought I'd give you a quick catch up where I'm at. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inlays in. I've got another 4 to put in, which are really tiny. I've sort of refined my process a little bit. I'm finding if I go and outline it with a pencil on the masking tape, then the line is a little bit wider and it fits in better, so that's not going too bad. I've had a couple of little splits on some of these, but it doesn't really matter. They're all glued in really tightly, and I don't think you'll see it once I've sanded it all down and smoothed it off. Anyway, getting on. Well, it's been a couple of days and I've got all the inlays into the fretboard, and I filled them with some dust and glue and given them a good sanding down, and I think they're looking pretty good. So the next job is to cut the fretboard out and to put the radius in. Once I've done that, I'm going to then coat it in CA glue to stop any splinters coming up, and then I can cut all the slots for the frets. So still a lot to do, but I'm going to call this video a day. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you for all your comments. I really enjoy reading them. I always respond. So I will see you soon, and in the meantime, stay safe. Cheers.